OnePlus 13 versus Vivo X200 Pro in a beautiful Amsterdam camera comparison. Let's go.
Starting with selfie camera, 4K 60 FPS, and I have to say I like how much wider the field of view is on OnePlus 13. I mean, I'm so glad the weather is pretty good here in Amsterdam because, you know, in the UK we get a lot of rain. So finally I'll be able to get some decent footage. But let's take some selfies first.
We can clearly see the difference that Oppo is wider and there's also more details. Sadly, Vivo selfie is just a little bit too soft. Color accuracy is a little bit better on OnePlus. But please let me know, do you actually use selfie camera at all?
Let's have a look at the stabilization. Ultra wide angle, 4K 60 FPS on both. Look at the colors here. I love this quality here. Wow. By the way, if you are enjoying real-world camera tests and comparison like this one, huge sub to the channel will be greatly appreciated. But let's switch to the main sensor now. And you can see how smoothly we have transition between the lenses. There's a little bike, as you can see. Moving on to ×2. Which one do you prefer? Let me switch to the optical zoom. ×3.7 on Vivo and ×3 on Oppo. But let's take more pictures now.
I have to say I prefer the dynamic range on OnePlus better. However, whichever device you pick, you will not be disappointed here. Ultra wide angle is actually exactly the same. However, main camera sensor is just a little bit bigger on Vivo, and telephoto lens 200 megapixels makes a huge difference, especially when you look at the telephoto, like really long distance. Clearly Vivo is winning here.
This is quality when you get a little bit closer to your subject. Optical zoom ×3, 4K 60 FPS on OnePlus. When you get closer, it is struggling, so you need to move back a little bit in order to get that focus. But let's have a look on the Vivo now. And I have to say, Vivo is just more reliable with the focus. I can get closer, I can get further. The object will just stay in the focus, which is pretty impressive. So macro photography, well, let's have a look at the pictures now.
Just looked at the bokeh effect on Vivo. I have to say, the Vivo have the best macro photography that I have ever tested on my channel. This looks like it's been taken with DSLR camera, not a smartphone.
Using dual mode video on OnePlus 13. Sadly, this is not available on Vivo. However, Vivo can record 4K 120 frames per second, which I'm using now, which is pretty insane, I have to say.
Okay, so I'm using portrait video mode, and I absolutely love the fact that Vivo has 4K 30 available. Sadly, OnePlus 13 can record only in 1080p. But let me have a look at some portrait photography now. If you love portrait photography, you will not be disappointed whichever device you pick. OnePlus has more natural look, Vivo just more softer. I absolutely love the background effect on OnePlus, but look at here, the colors a bit more natural on OnePlus. And I am a huge fan of this background separation. Look at those colors here. Honestly, you will not be disappointed. However, OnePlus here is just a little bit better in my opinion. Both devices have the burst mode available. On the left here you can see I was not using that option on Vivo, and then I found it, and then you can see both shots here.
This is portrait video mode, and I have to say I prefer OnePlus 13 here. First of all, it's a wider field of view, and also Vivo skin is just too soft, and I've mentioned this several times in my reviews. Sadly, the selfie could be improved. Hopefully this is something they're gonna do in the future software update. But let's explore Amsterdam a little bit more in the low light conditions. So let's go. selfie camera, 4K 60 FPS. This is the quality. Let me know what you think about this one. I am not a huge fan of Vivo, I have to say. The skin tones are just not as great. Also, my skin is just a little bit too soft. But let's have a look at now at OnePlus. And we've got selfie on OnePlus 13. And I have to say, I absolutely love how much wider the field of view is here. But you let me know what you think. Portrait video mode, OnePlus 13. I am using aperture f2.8. This is the quality. Let me know what you think about this one. Portrait video mode on Vivo X200 Pro. Sadly, both devices support only 1080p 30 fps on portrait video mode. But let's have a look at some selfies now.
If you take a lot of selfies, I think OnePlus is a better choice here. It doesn't really matter if it's night or daytime. The pictures just look better, even when it's very, very dark.
Okay, but it's time to check on video quality. Ultra wide angle, 4K, 60 FPS. Really enjoying Amsterdam here. Absolutely amazing. Let me switch to main sensor and introduce you to my friend from Poland. You definitely need to go and check his Instagram, Wes and Unicorns. He's doing some really cool pictures, I have to say. But let me carry on with video quality and switch to ×2. This is stabilization. 3.7 optical zoom, and then we go ×3 with OnePlus here. I have to say, with the color accuracy, from what I can see, the OnePlus is doing a little bit better job here. But let's take some pictures now.
Again, both phones just take amazing pictures. You will not be disappointed. However, I think it's going to be down to personal preference. Most of the time, I think OnePlus was just a little bit more natural. What I've noticed that Vivo added a little bit too much blue into the sky, which was not as natural. But as soon as you go a little bit further, ×10 or over, then Vivo is doing a better job. Even when it's really, really dark, you can see that Vivo just adding that artificial blue sky effect.
Right, so we've got portrait video mode available on both devices. However, Vivo has an advantage. There is a 4K available. Sadly, OnePlus is limited to 1080p only. But let's have a look at that portrait photography now.
I like the background separation on Vivo just a little bit better. However, sometimes Vivo just adds a little bit too much sharpening, which I'm not a huge fan of. Here again, both fantastic shots. But what I'm very impressed with Vivo, that you can go 135mm equivalent just to get that beautiful shot.
Maximum zoom ×18 and OnePlus 13. That is looking pretty nice, I have to say. And switching back to ultra wide angle. And this is maximum zoom on Vivo X200 Pro ×20. And switching back to ultra wide angle. So little conclusion here. If you love portrait photography, 4K, 30 FPS, it's amazing on Vivo. You get better macro photography in my opinion. Zoom is also better on Vivo. Not to mention about the Zeiss portrait photography, which I'm a huge fan of, especially on 85mm and 135mm. However, if you use selfie a lot, which I'm using now, then OnePlus is better option. Also, color accuracy is also better on OnePlus 13. But please remember, this device costs $899, which is cheaper than global version on Vivo, which is over £1,000. You will get more software update and you get more powerful chipset. So please let me know what you think about those two devices, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Cheers.